Welcome back, everyone. Happy 4th of July. Just back out in the garage trying to make a mad dash to the very end on both of them. It's funny. It's funny. The closer you get to your road trip or car show or racing event, whatever it may be, the less and less important things become. um, like for the front end on this, I was gonna my plan was over the winter and leading up to this event, I was gonna blow apart the whole front end, control arms, upper lower ball joints, control arm bushings, inner outer tie rod ends, and I just didn't get to it. I double checked everything. Honestly, there wasn't any play in anything on this thing, but some of the bushings, specifically on the ball joints, were really torn up. You add grease and it instantly starts coming out, multiple holes in the bushings. But I jacked it up today. I was like, well, I got to at least check everything. To be honest, the tie rod, like, it goes straight down the road, and the tie rods, inner outer tie rods, it actually looks like someone did them. All the bushings are nice. They hold grease and everything like that. There's really no play in the tie rods, so I think when time comes, even when we get back, I might not even do the tie rods, but I don't know. I ordered them, so I'll probably do them. I mean, they're cheap enough, and I'm down there doing the control arms and stuff. But yeah, I checked I checked the play on them. I jacked it up. I put the pry bar in there. I pried on them real good and stuff, and there's really no play. So there's a little play in the pitman arm, but it's not bad enough where I'm concerned. But, I wish I could have took the wheel bearings, out and greased them. I thought I ordered the wheel bearing seals, but I didn't. So I really don't want to try to gamble and take the seals off and not be able to put them back on. I could probably get those at AutoZone, but, the brakes on them, even though it's old, the rotors and the pads look really good. So I'm thinking someone serviced everything on the front end. Towards the end of its life before it sat for a while. I don't have any noise coming from the wheel bearings. There's no play in them, so I'm just going to let it roll on down the road. The one thing, though, the PSA I wanted to say was these lug nuts, I never wanted to get unilug wheels. I've heard they're just a pain in the ass to deal with all the time with the washers and whatnot, but these are the lug nuts I have to use for these, and they have the collar on them, and then these washers. I will say these washers, they like pancake out after a while, so I had to dig through all the ones in my storage cabinet and stuff like that to figure out if I had some good ones. I found some good ones, and then also I was torquing this one down. I don't think it would have happened on the road because I was torquing it down when it happened, but the collar actually broke off of it. So I replaced them with newer lug nuts I had. They're not brand new, but they look newer than these. So hopefully, these this side went back on, and I got to do the other side. So hopefully the other side goes back on. I'm kind of running out of those washers that aren't completely messed up, but yeah, that's about it for the front end. I'm greasing everything. I got to do the motor mount on the Dodge. I'm going to strap it down. It's pretty bad on the one side. It's not, I had the doghouse off, and it's not like moving and a shaking when I'm brake torquing it or anything like that. Just the rubber was looking real bad. I was looking at it last night. I was going to start getting into it, and I was like, you know what? There's just, I'm like, I don't have a cherry picker, so it's going to be either, I'm going to have to jack it up from the oil pan, and then I was originally going to do it from the balancer, but then I read that's bad news, that could be bad, and, I was even thinking that too, that could mess up the crank. Maybe not, I don't know, maybe I'm paranoid. Even the oil pan, I'm just worried, the oil pan gasket's leaking already, so it's God forbid I do it, and then I go to drive it, and somehow the oil pan gasket gets pinched, and it's just, leaking oil out of the damn thing 3 days before the event. And then just other things undoing the exhaust bolts and stuff like that. And there's just, I don't know, maybe I'm bitching out, but I think it's good enough. I'm going to strap the motor, the one part of the motor mount to the subframe for the trip. I think it's fine. I don't have any vibration or anything like that. So that's going to fix that for the time being until I get back. I'm just going to baby it. You know, I'm not pulling a trailer with this thing to this event. You know, if I was, then I'd be worried, but I'm not. So I'm just not going to be getting on it and trying to do burnouts and whatnot. But yeah, I'm just moving on down the line. I got everything torn apart. You know, my care kit, my roadside care kit with all my tools and stuff like that. I got to throw this all back together and make sure I have everything. And then the inside of the van's a mess. I tried to get a new tire for the Chevy today, because that's the original spare. It's holding air and everything, but it's just dry rotted like crazy. But in this day and age, no one has 15-inch tires. So I think I have one off of the old Buick wheels for my station wagon, so I'm going to have to swap that over. I wanted to get a 60 because that's what all the tires are on these slots right now. I think the ones on the Buick are 70s, is the sidewall. So that kind of sucks, but worst case Ontario, it'll get me down the road. Maybe it'll be tracking weird, that little bit of a difference, but it's better than a blowout on a dry rotted spare tire. So I did get a new battery for this. Found a side post battery for this at AutoZone, so I'm going to be throwing that into it. And then I think that's about it. I would like to get the swivel seat, at least for the driver's side. I found these bases, I think I said in the other video, I found these out of a Chevy RV at a pick and pull. They're swivel bases. These are swivel bases as well, but they don't have front and back motion. And she kind of was saying, my wife's been on road trips and stuff with this, but she's like, for this road trip, I kind of would like to be a little closer up to the steering wheel. So I don't know if I'll get to that tonight, tomorrow Saturday. So I'm going to try to get that in there. Same with this one. This one's just loose, but no one's driving with her on the trip. So I'll get to that when I get back. But other than that, I'm just trying to wrap shit up. It's 3 days away. Saturday, Sunday, we leave Monday after work. If anyone else is thinking about coming, is on the fence, I know it's close, really close to the event. I know people can't get time off from work and life gets in the way, but if you're on the fence and you can even come out, you know, Thursday, Friday, you know, I don't know how far everyone is, but it's going to be a blast. There's a lot of hype on Facebook for the event, and a lot of guys are cramming, posting videos and stuff and updates on Facebook like, oh, I'm getting this done. I've been jamming to get everything finished back on the road. So my hopes are high. I hope there's a big turnout. And yeah, so I'm not sure where the video is going to go with this. I'll probably pick it up tomorrow when I'm putting that seat base in, and then we'll see. I was hoping to get that damn Poppy's Patina. I ordered it through Vice Grip Garage off their YouTube link. I ordered it like June 10th or something. So I emailed them. They're like, well, we're doing a giveaway right now, and things are kind of backed up. I mean, there wasn't a giveaway when I ordered my stuff, but it is what it is. I know they're probably flooded with purchases and stuff to win whatever he's giving away right now. But yeah, I'm going to keep it rolling out here, and I will update you with the next one. So it's the next day. I checked this side. I think that's where I left off. I checked the ball joints and everything on this side, and I was able to find just enough washers for those lug nuts. But when I get back, I'm going to order a complete set for this thing. You know, it's one of those things where you find a set of aftermarket wheels on Marketplace or Craigslist, and they normally come with lug nuts, and you're just so excited to get them on. You just use the old, washers and lug nuts. So that was the case, at least with this one. But when I get back, I will definitely get a new set of washers all the way around. The one on the Dodge, the Kragers and the Dodge, I made sure I bought those wheels brand new from Summit, so I ordered the washers and the lug nuts all at once too. So that's all set. I did find I called around today to look for a spare tire. I ended up going to the junkyard actually, because all the tire shops, no one had. The one tire shop had one 15-inch tire, and it was for a trailer, and it was the wrong size too as far as sidewall and width goes. But I went to the junkyard and I got a BF Goodrich, actually, pretty good tire for $20. It's kind of sad though. I don't go to the junk. We have a pick and pull by us. I don't go to the junkyard very often, but when I do, I always there's always a handful of old cars from the 70s, especially the 80s, and there's always conversion vans and stuff to get like lights and wood trim and even curtains and seats like this. Even these are out of a later model Chevy, but yeah, there was nothing. There was no cars, trucks, whatever from the 70s. I don't even think there was anything from the 80s there. So it's kind of weird, you used to be able to go there and find stuff, but I think a lot of these places have such a big, fast turnaround. They don't hold on to that kind of stuff because it's just not valuable to them. They rather have vehicles in there that have airbags and ECUs and stuff like that people go after and pick. And it's definitely weird seeing certain vehicles in there now, like Cadillac, late model Cadillac Escalades and stuff like that. But I guess times are just changing, But yeah, I got the seat out, like you can see. I'm going to have to, when I get back, originally the plan too was I was going to take both seats out, do both swivel bases, because that one moves a lot too. I think I showed you earlier in this video. But I wanted to pressure wash, take this carpet out, pressure wash it really good, and then put it down a little bit more permanent. Right now it's just kind of placed in there and all the trim kind of holds it in. So I want to definitely get that more permanent and reroute all this stuff too for the speakers. That's for a later day too for that project. I want to get a different radio head unit, some with Bluetooth in here, because I don't know if it's the antenna or the connections are loose right now. AM FM comes in kind of okay, and then the CD player still works, but I definitely want to get something different, get some better speakers too with some grills. But yeah, I got the swivel base that I'm using for the driver's side. It's drying right now. I actually have to put one last coat on it. But one thing I did notice is, I don't know if these were I don't think these were swivel bases. That's what came in the van. I don't know if those are original. These are the ones I found out of the early 70s Chevy camper van. But it's definitely taller. I think I measured it. It was 2.25 inches taller. So I was kind of concerned about that. I bolted everything up and mocked it up before I made it permanent, and had the wife sit in it. And I think it's better. She can move the seat up. Definitely has more front and back movement with these tracks. And then also you sit up higher. I think it feels better. She agrees. So we'll see how the road trip goes. She's kind of shorter. She's on the shorter side. So she is kind of closer to the steering wheel. I measured this steering wheel. It's a 15-inch wheel. She likes it. I like it. I think it looks good. It matches the wood trim on the dash too. But I want to try to see if I can find a 14-inch wheel. I don't know. I kind of did a quick search, and a lot of the stuff that I've seen in 14-inch wheels are like more modern Grant style, Momo style steering wheels. And I obviously want a period correct steering wheel. I can always put the chain link one. No, she probably won't like the chain link steering wheel. That's like a 13-inch, I think. I had that on my Dodge for a little bit. It looked awesome, it looked cool, but it kind of, I don't know. It was hard to tell because it was like right after I did all the front end work, but it just kind of made the steering geometry a little weird. It was very touchy going down the highway. So I don't know what that was all about, but it looks good on the wall, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to keep going on this. And then I'm going to keep packing the 2 vans up. And then I'll probably give them a wash and wax. And I will see what else pops up. So something definitely popped up. This is Sunday now, the day before we leave. Yeah, I got the seat base in yesterday and got the new battery in and everything was good. And then I went to go move it, and this thing was just running like absolute garbage. When it was sitting there idling in park and neutral, it was fine. And then as soon as you threw it into reverse or drive, it had a horrible miss. I mean, it was almost like you had like plugs mixed up and the firing order was like to shit. But yeah, it was the weirdest thing though. Yeah, it was like at stoplights and stop signs, this thing would like shake to the point where it would die out almost. And then on the highway though, it was driving fine. I'd be going 55, 60 up and down the highway, and it was fine. There was maybe a little less power, it felt like, but overall it was fine until you got to a stop. So I went through everything. I changed out the ignition control module. I threw a different one in there in that new distributor, thinking maybe that was it. I checked all the plugs, all the wires, made sure I had everything correct, made sure a boot didn't pop off one of the plugs. I popped the cap off, looked at the rotor, vacuum advance, mechanical advance, everything was fine. It was the weirdest thing. It wasn't missing under a load, so I was like, well, you know what, I don't think that's ignition issues. I thought it was the carb, some sort of fueling issue. I even threw the old battery back in, thinking like, I don't know, it was just coincidental that it happened right after I put the new battery in. I put the old swivel base for the seat belt. No, I'm joking. But it was weird. It was very funny that all of a sudden it started running like shit. So I called around, I talked to some of my friends and stuff, and we all kind of came up to the conclusion that it was fuel related. And, that carburetor, this thing was sitting, I've said it many times, it was sitting on a side street for like 10 years, and the owner's father would just move it back and forth from one side of the street to the other every other week, just so he would avoid getting tickets, especially during like plow season and stuff. So, it never got ran other than that. So God only knows what the carb looked like inside. I always had plans to rebuild it. I wanted to rebuild it. But, honestly, for the most part, even with it sitting for so long, it didn't have any issues leading up to now. So I just kind of was like, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, it finally broke. It turned out to actually be, we started spraying carb cleaner around everything, thinking maybe there's a vacuum leak or something like that with the intake manifold or one of the lines. There's not many vacuum lines to this thing, but it actually turned out to be the throttle shaft right here. You probably can't pick it up, but there's some play in this. And then when you sprayed carb cleaner here and then on the other side, while it was in drive and missing horribly, I think it was this one, the idle would pick up, straighten out, and it would be running fine. As soon as you stop spraying carb cleaner, it would start running like garbage again. So before I went to my friend's house today, because, I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of experience with carburetors. I just don't. I didn't grow up with them like a lot of guys did in the 70s and 80s, and I just don't have a lot of experience with them. I adjusted the choke idle on the old one, and messed with the throttle cable or the throttle return spring, but outside of that, I don't have a lot of experience. I've torn apart little ones and stuff for lawnmowers and stuff, but I haven't dove into one of these before. So I went to my friend's house. He's older than me. He knows a lot about carbs. He's experienced a lot of issues with him, rebuilding them at his previous repair shops he's owned and worked at in the past. But I was like, screw it. I was like, before I go there, I'm just going to go get a brand new Edelbrock just in case. I went to AutoZone. They didn't even know what I was talking about when I went in there and said, hey, do you guys have Edelbrock carburetors? But I gave them the part number, and they had it locked up in the back because it's a high value item. They had the Holly on the shelf out for the public to touch and pick up. So that, I guess that goes to tell you something. No, I'm not Edelbrock, like a purist for that, or Holly. I know some guys are very picky with what carbs they use. They're all new to me. It's a whole new thing to me. So I'm learning, like I said. But yeah, I threw this on there, and it runs great. I tell you, it runs better than it ever has since I've owned it. The throttle response is better. The kickdown, which I don't know how that would affect anything, because I didn't mess with the kickdown itself other than just putting the cable back on, but it kicks down so much better now. I mean, from third to second, around like 40, it'll drop down. It just feels, it's got a lot better street manners. It idles good. I didn't have to mess with anything. I messed with the idle screw a little bit, but I ended up putting it back to where it was. So that was not really anything crazy that I did. I probably will mess with the choke high idle. I had to do that with the old one, and I noticed when we choked it out, it was sitting for a moment while we changed it. When I hit the choke, it was idling a little high, so I probably will adjust this. I think I might just do it at Nationals one morning when I fire her up and see what she's idling at. I really got to get a tack on this van and my other van. It just helps with tuning. It just helps with just everything, knowing where you're sitting on the highway, setting, base timing and all that stuff. So I want to get a couple vintage period correct tacks when I get back. But yeah, I was really pulling my hair out. I was like, man, this sucks. She was all pumped about bringing this to Nationals, been jamming on this thing, getting, little things done here and there. And I was pissed. I was like, oh man, this thing, it's not going to make it. So, but it seemed to fix it for now. So that's about it, I think, for this video. I'm going to wrap it up. I got to get the rest of the stuff packed in both vans. We haven't put anything as far as like camping gear in any of them, because I've just been cramming to get all this stuff done. I don't know if I'm going to wash and wax the vans, because I think it's going to rain on the way out there. I might just hit a self-service car wash when we get there. It's kind of fun to do that anyway. You roll up to a local self-service car wash when you're at one of these events with like 4 or 5 other vans. It's cool photo ops. But yeah, the next one I'm going to post is probably going to be the journey out to Madison, Wisconsin, and then meeting up with everyone there. I'm hoping I think on Instagram it was like 15 to 20 people, and then I'll get some footage of that going out there. Knock on wood. Hopefully everything goes good. And then, yeah, next time I'll see you guys, I will see you at the Nationals. So safe travels to everyone else that's going. And yeah, I'll see you around.